I mean, I gotta congratulate them on not just having one damaged ship run into another damaged ship. Happened to every gameless engagement. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're back with some more Space Battleship Yamato. We come back as we normally do with notes, comments, and a board. So let's go ahead and look at that board first thing, where there's really only one changelog item, where I added Kato and Yamamoto. Technically, there is a somewhat change. If you look at the images of some of the Comet Empire admirals, I have changed the images from the movie to the show. Now, here's the thing, is I don't quite remember if this change has happened in the last couple of episodes and I just didn't remember, or if I just didn't change them before for some reason. But obviously, you know what? I'm not even going to say it now. It's in my notes section. So if you want to know what I was about to say, go to the notes section. Which is the next thing I'm about to do anyway, so I don't know why I'm being so coy about this. Let's go to the notes. Okay, so the opening map shows us the Andromeda Galaxy, I assume in order to show us the distance that the Comet Empire is traveling across, both Magellanic Clouds and the Milky Way, fair enough. The solar system, of course, to remind us of where we are, despite it being shown nowhere near where the solar system would be. Interestingly, Terrasat is on the map, despite us barely ever hearing much about it. Or, and maybe I'm forgetting this, even knowing in show where it's at, I think I had guessed before that it would be in the Andromeda Galaxy, only because it's a place that the Comet Empire had contact with before. So surely it would be around them, or behind them, right? Having it be in the Milky Way would imply to me that they conquered the world in the past, when they were either even further away, or that they've circled around back to here after having been here a long time ago. It doesn't make a lot of sense to be circling the universe and already making a return trip to places you've been inside the lifespan of one person. They are traveling fast, to be sure, but we could conceivably measure that speed as they are traveling from Andromeda to the Milky Way. And considering other vast interstellar distances, they wouldn't be traveling fast enough to have circled the universe by now. Anyways, beyond that nitpick, we also have Procyon and Sirius being shown for no specific reason yet. I guess indicated that they will be important landmarks later. And, future note-taking note, never mind, one scene later describes Admiral Ballsy securing them. And as to what I was talking about with the board, the Admirals got reverse Desslered. They were first shown to us as green guys, now they're white guys. Nazca's shot is just his shot from the movie with his skin changed from green to off-white, and a number of them got that treatment, so. But my thing is that before I could have sworn in the show, we saw them in the Comet Empire green before, so I can't tell if it's just I didn't change it the first time we saw them, or if this is just a recent change, the same way that Dessler started off that color before he turned blue. Okay, I get that the military thinks of them as deserters. Technically, they are. Kato sharing that the moon base thinks that they've turned on the Earth, though. That's not a laughing matter. I'm saying that because they all laugh in the scene when he mentions it. Thinking you are now enemies of the Earth isn't just a completely different thing. It's antithetical to your entire operation. One could consider that attitude the reason the Andromeda is going after you. I imagine that it isn't helped by the destruction of the defense satellite in orbit, the one that everyone in a hemisphere could see. Would have to imagine public opinion would be this side of terrified. The saviors of the Earth just destroyed something whose only purpose was to protect them. It's a mixed message. Both in the movie and here, Kodai asking Yuki to identify herself just comes off as clumsy. He knows who she is. They don't even try playing it off like disbelief, which is the one way I would believe the scene. Him trying to force himself into believing that she's on Earth, to the point of trying to believe that this is someone else. And not for nothing, Starsha looked like her, so not without precedent. But in this instance, he just knows. So this song and dance is pointless. Cut out the entire "who are you, get off the ship" part, and boil it down to the "I want you to be safe, I'm part of the crew" part, and it would have been perfect. Where the hell is this bathroom located? Kato is taking a piss and looking out a window when the Andromeda comes flying directly towards them. In the previous shot and in the next shot, the Andromeda is coming up behind them, meaning this window is around the engine somewhere. I'm sorry, the engine exhaust, whatever you would call it, where the light's coming from, which would also suggest that there should be a bright yellow light coming out somewhere around the window. If the Andromeda is almost completely automated, then why were they white-knuckling it through the asteroid field? Sorry. That ship should be performing those maneuvers even better than the Yamato was, or at least with less input from the crew and more calculated to not slam into anything. Also, what I was saying during the episode, the average distance between objects in the asteroid belt is about 600,000 miles, or 965,600 kilometers. It's a movie trope to have everything really packed together to make an action scene out of it. In reality, the Yamato would have swung around one asteroid, or just kept flying straight ahead, seeing nothing of particular interest. And my last note here. At the very least, the Andromeda turning 180 degrees to the Yamato showed that they weren't going to fire their wave motion guns at it, while also exposing them to getting hit by Yamato's wave motion gun that much more easily. I think the Yamato could easily survive an Andromeda broadside, so it was a show of lesser force. Alright, those were the notes. As I said, though, we have some comments. First off, Kellen Winslow. I fully understand your point about the show being soft sci-fi and thus you could excuse flaws, but I still think the radiation issues, among others, are just there because of bad writing. Even in the 70s, especially after World War II, they were fully aware of the issues that presented, and there is no evidence that radiation or any of the problems we now face were suddenly solved with super science. The device that cleaned the Earth, possibly, sure, but even that is poorly explained. It created problems. It's not that I don't like the show, quite the opposite. It's because I like it that the flaws stand out more than they would with a show that wasn't as good. It's true they didn't have enough people to fully run the ship, that's true, but they sure showed a lot of people getting on the ship. Even 100 people on the ship would be a lot to just arrest. You are probably right about Season 2 being pretty much the same as the original show. It does have a slow start and is comparable to the first show. Although one of my favorite films is 2001, and I have grown to love Star Trek, the motion picture. So I guess slow shows or films don't really bother me. I suppose I said it was better because my knowledge of the movie has colored my perception of the actual show, so if it's better or not, we'll see. Gundam Evolve, huh? I own that, but mostly because it has a story for Double Zeta that takes place after the show. Forgot about the Wing episode and some of the other stuff. Episode 5, I feel, picks things up fairly well. We get the new Cosmo Tigers, and they finally left Earth. There are some action, and the music really helps give it some momentum. The first few episodes may have lacked. I never liked the fact that Kodai wouldn't want Yuki by his side for everything after what they went through. Her chance of surviving is probably better on the Yamato, quite frankly. Sorry, I was about to skip on ahead. I mean, obviously not. She died. Sorry, I'm about to say twice because I think I'm conflating the movie. She died once in the original show, and then came back to life because of miracle, I guess. I don't know. In the movie, she of course dies. So, I mean, she might not be aware of the movie because it's an alternative universe, but the element is that she dies once a season on the ship. Literally, if I was going to give Kodai the benefit of the doubt here, presumably she's never died on Earth before, so, I mean, I don't know. I'm with you, but at the same time, I understand where Kodai's coming from. You know, again, what I said before in my notes, the element of, I just want you to be safe. I wish they hadn't done the whole song and dance that I don't know who this is, or I need you to tell me who you are, you know, whatever the fuck they were trying to do there. But I get where he's coming from, I just want you to be safe. And not for nothing, actually thinking about it. The element that they wrote off every woman that was on the Yamato, except for Yuki, and then gave Yuki a stand-up I'm going to be on the ship with the rest of you. This is where I belong. I mean, they could have written her off so easily, and they chose to give her a stand-up scene, and that was good. So you take your wins, I guess. The cat in the show is there because Lijai Matsumoto had a cat, and the one in the show is kind of a stand-in for his pet. I never had a problem with the cat being there. I thought my problem was that Kodai was joke chasing it through the mess hall, and then why did he continue the joke when it's just him in the hallway? That just didn't make any sense to me. The Andromeda chasing the Yamato kind of reminds me of the Excelsior going after the Enterprise in Star Trek 3, although that confrontation never really got as far as this. Well, I mean, yeah, because Scotty sabotaged the ship. They barely got out of the dock, if I recall correctly. I still think it's stupid for them to want to fight to stop the Yamato. They need all the ships they can get. I guess it's for the pride, but come on, really? The entire sequence where neither side wants to shoot first is well done, though, so that's cool. And the fact that they were wished good luck was really good writing. It just goes to my point about the show. Most of it's done really well, especially for the time. It's just a few bad writing choices and continuity issues, like Yamato just being fine after fights, that slightly brings the show down. I mean, I understand it. Like I said, they're being presented as deserters. As I said in my note, on the moon, they're talking about how the Yamato was turned on the Earth. And from a civilian standpoint, you've just seen them destroy the battle satellite, which is only there to defend you. So what does that represent to you, the person who doesn't know what's going on? So I can understand that there might be this, what's the guy's name? The second in command to the head of the Earth Defense Force. The one who really wants to stop the Yamato. That he might be pushing this whole they've turned against us angle. And at which point it's not an extra ship, it's a rogue ship. It's a rogue ship with a cannon powerful enough to destroy the Earth if it wanted. So, I don't know. I can see where the other side would be coming from. And as for the ship always being repaired afterwards, I mean, they did show us it has this whole facility on the inside that can just remake everything. My problem is that they just present it like an old style cartoon would. They don't like, oh yeah, the repairs are gonna take this long, or if they talked about how long repairs would take, and then like showed us the facility in full operation every now and then, more so than like I guess they did show us once or twice, than like putting panels on to fix stuff. And I guess they thought, oh, we show it to them once or twice, they'll know how it happened every other time. I don't know if I'm cutting the show slack, then I guess it's slack I can cut after the fact. I can mock it in the moment, but understand where it's coming from. I do understand about you and lessons recording in advance. It's smart and a good choice. It does give us content to look forward to, so I appreciate it. Thanks again for your reaction. I'll have to check out the other show you recommended. At this point, I do not remember the show that I recommended. I'll also admit at this point that I am not recording Space Battleship Yamato in the same ahead of time that I wish that I were. As a matter of fact, I am currently recording this episode at 1 a.m. in the morning on the 17th, which is what? 2 days before I need to post it. So, yeah, I have an incredible backlog of stuff constantly coming through that I have not kept up on. What do I got right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 episodes of stuff. Mostly Legend of Galactic Heroes and Gundam Zeta that I need to edit and get out there. It's just the element that when I record shows with lessons, they tend to be like 2.5 hours long, and they take a lot longer for me to edit versus shows like this, which is just me, so I don't have to like carefully listen to everything that we say. Ooh, gotta remove that. That sort of stuff. I can get this edited and out in like 2 hours versus, again, Legend of Galactic Heroes. I have currently one in the editing process right now as I'm recording this. Started off as like 2.5 hours. I got it down to like an hour 40 minutes, but I still have to chop it up and get it through, and that's going to take me another like 2-3 hours. So there's a there's a funnel process in here, and that's what's taking it in. All right, next up we got Arthur Painter, It seems pretty lonely here in the comments with only Kellen Winslow holding down the fort every week. I only watch on YouTube, so hopefully you're getting more reaction from the other sites. I only post it to Patreon and YouTube. But since you only seem to be reacting to YouTube comments, maybe not. Well, there you go. It doesn't help that there hasn't been a proper official release of the original series except for the bolderized Star Blazers dub and the movies. I predict there will be a massive uptick in views and engagement once you hit the modern series. Well, if I even cared about views and engagement, this channel would have been a lot better off, I assume. I don't know. I'm here just to do what I enjoy. I just wanted you to know your Yamato reviews are weekly appointment viewing for me. Even if I don't comment all the time, I'm still watching, and more often than not, I'm thinking about commenting more than I actually do. As usual, my thoughts are about typical nerdy pedantry. None of the stuff I bring up is meant to sound scolding or like I'm trying to, actually, you're doing fine. Backtracking to Series 1 and the Pluto base, I believe you mentioned there was a ship Yamato let go that you thought was heading to rebuild the Pluto base. I'm genuinely curious about that since I don't recall the ship you're referring to. The only one that got away, to my knowledge, was a ship in the Proto Starstorm episode. I looked at it as a lone ship watching the Yamato and not doing anything else. I know, it was months ago, and you're watching a bunch of different series, and I'm asking you to remember some tiny detail. I think, this is off the top of my head, you're talking about the right ship. That's the ship I'm talking about. I believe there is a scene. God, what was his name? It wasn't Dessler. It was the admiral guy who came off of one of the front lines. Domel. I believe Domel, in a conversation with Gale, is referring to a supply ship that is heading back towards the solar system to get ready for rebuilding or whatever. And as that is the only ship in context to that scene, that would then have to be the Pluto ship, right? Because that's the only base that can be rebuilt, unlike Dessler, who often refers to getting stuff ready for the colonization. I don't remember what he says, but in context, that is the only thing that could be. And it's the only ship that gets by the Yamato, so that has to be that one. Now, I could not give you like a timestamp or an episode, but that is where that's coming from in my mind. I understand that you're trying to keep up with the names by looking them up while trying to avoid spoilers, which can result in things like the name NVIDIA sneaking into your video. So let's talk about some names. Well, I will say in the movie, I do believe she was called NVIDIA, versus in the show, she has a different name. So when it comes to the movie to show board thing, that's just because I copied one to the other with the intent to change things as they come. The name Serizawa never appears in OG Yamato. He's only ever referred to by rank or position, never by name. Oddly enough, in the Star Blazers dub, he's given the name General Stone, and Commander Toto is the one without a name. They just call him Toto. Sorry, they just call Toto Commander. Even when Toto gets a caption, the Star Blazers title reads simply EDF Commander. I guess I should also mention that when I get these names, I'm getting them off of the Space Battleship Yamato wiki, right? Which itself separates the characters from OG, 2199, whatever. It separates separates them by era, right? So I guess if he gets named in 2199, then the character Link or whatever might have just the full name from totality of Space Battleship Yamato releases. And then it will say, oh, this is the same guy from the OG. Do you want to know about the OG guy who just happens to have the full name of the guy from Future or whatever? So, again, I've got spotty sources, but I'm using what I've got. Talon is just Talon. Like most of the Yamato baddies in the original series, he only had one name. I don't know if you noticed, but Talon's had a complete makeover between seasons. In the first series, he had sandy brown hair, a trimmed mustache, and softer features. In the Farewell to Yamato movie, he had darker hair and a longer mustache, but was still recognizable from his Series 1 appearance. Then he shows up in Series 2 with brown hair, a longer, fuller mustache, square jaw, and a bulkier build. He's still the same Talon as far as we know. Maybe he was injured on Gameless and had to have reconstructive surgery. I mean, it's been a year. Dude could have worked out. I don't know. It has to be reconstructed. So I guess if you're saying the jawline, you can't just like build up the jawline. I don't know. Maybe it's a different guy. Who knows? I mean, really, everybody there should be dead, right? The fact that Dessler came back to life twice, I just, really don't know how to handle that. I recently showed a coworker a picture of Series 2 Talon. He thought he looked like Tom Selleck. I once described him as Blue Ron Swanson. I guess I'm more on board with your coworker. Tom Selleck would be my go-to. I guess Hawaii Five-0? Is that the reference I want to make here? No, not Hawaii Five-0. Magnum PI. Anyway, they were different enough character designs that the modern series split them into two brothers, Wilt, original recipe, and Goddard, bold and spicy. Well, I mean, I don't particularly want you telling me what's going to come ahead, because that's spoilers. All of the above stuff names is just FYI. I don't think anyone has a problem with you using the new names. Several of the Gatlantis names are based on English: Zordor, Zwodor, Sibra, Rosella, and Survival. Tank commanders mentioned in the intro are Sword, Saber, Razor, and Survival, respectively. Most of the other names are of unknown origin. However, there is Valsey. He is likely named after World War II Admiral Bull Halsey. Sorry, I'm going to say Hazley. Hazley Waisley. So I guess that means this power-hungry war machine represents America? I've never heard any confirmation, but it fits. Strangely enough, in the Starblazers dub, they gave most of them a Russian/Eastern European accent. If you remember, the Starblazers dub was produced by Hasbro. Voice actress Morgan Lofting used the same accent for Nvidia, Saber, that she used for the Baroness in G.I. Joe. Also brought to you by Hasbro, until all are one. One other odd thing, instead of being Zordor's lady, Nvidia was Zordor's daughter in Starblazers. No clue why. I mean, I mean, in the movie, she's the princess, right? So she is the daughter, right, in the movie. Unless I'm misremembering that. In which case, Starblazers probably just took their inspiration from the movie, which, as you know, came out before the show. So it's likely that they were inspired by the movie first and then just carried stuff over. Which would be odd if they used the show, because I don't know. I don't know what's coming in the show. I imagine they might do stuff being his lady that might not be appropriate for that other relationship. The Black Tigers are known as the Cosmo Tigers from now on. In the modern series, they didn't use the name Black Tigers at all because apparently Black Tigers is a variety of shrimp popular in Japan. With the radiation issues, I figure science and medical technology are better at decontamination and treatment than current day. There are limits to what they can do, but it's much higher. I mean, that was the hand wave that I was like willing to just fucking give it to them at the end. But at the same time, remember back in season 1 where they were calling back and people are fucking dropping and dying because of the radiation? So clearly, not so much. And that was like not even halfway into the journey, right? So you figure by the time they come back, so many more people would have been dead. Or, can you imagine? Like, it's been a couple of months into Yamato's journey. You're getting like the final transmission, and you're hearing how all these people are dying. To just then be like, yeah, let the Yamato in, and just be standing in the hangar bay as all this radiation comes pouring in. Like, fuck it anyway, I guess. Starblazers made a few adjustments to the Hijikata/Kodai feud during the. Sorry, I'm used to the same thing that comes up with lessons a lot. I'm used to saying them by one particular part of their name. So when y'all bring up their other half of their name as the name that you refer to them by, throws me off. During the near collision in the first Yamato 2 episode, Yamato's radio was fixed and working. Hijikata brings this up during their face-to-face confrontation, episode 2, asking why Kodai didn't let them know that they had damaged ships with them. The Starblazers dialogue is changed so that Argo's Yamato's radio is still out. It's mentioned by both the Argo/Yamato crew and the Andromeda crew during episode 1 Face Off. Wildstar, Kodai brings this up during his confrontation with Gideon, Hijikata, in episode 2. In fact, I love the Starblazers dialogue in the Wildstar Gideon scene. Wildstar is so salty. Yeah, I actually realized I haven't actually called him by name at all. I think I'd just be calling him the captain of the Andromeda. I don't think I even referred to him by name in the movie when he becomes the captain of the Yamato. They just called him captain all this time. From memory, Wildstar, Captain Avatar always taught us that the right of way belongs to the ship furthest from home and in greater need. You knew, sir, that our radio was out. That alone would give us priority over any other ship. Gideon, the flagship of the Earth Defense Force always goes first. It's a matter of rank. If you're going to be an officer in the Star Force, you better be aware of rank. Wildstar, I know rank is important. It didn't occur to me that the captain of the flagship would base his space navigation on rules of rank instead of plain common sense. Another dialogue change I appreciated was in the episode during the scene where Kodai discovers Yuki is on board and orders her off the ship because regulations. In Yamato, Dr. Seto urges Kodai not to fight with Yuki. In Starblazers, he makes a rather cogent remark instead. Dr. Sane, say, you're a fine one to talk about regulations, or are you the only one who can break rules, even with a good reason? Starblazers also removed Dr. Sato hitting the cat. Come on, Doc, he's just being a cat. Keep up the good work. Also, Kellen Winslow said, it's going to take a while, and some of it can be kind of a slog, but you're getting a good foundation for the modern series. I mean, I'm here for the old stuff, and I'm here for the new stuff, and then I'm here for the stuff in between. I watch what I enjoy watching. I don't tend to pick up series that don't seem like I would enjoy them. But then again, I guess at the end of the day, I don't think I've encountered a series where I've been like, no, that's not for me. Like, there have been some really confusing series that I've looked at over time where I've been like, I don't know if this is... That's the difference. I don't think that there's a series out there that I probably wouldn't try. But there are plenty of series that I think would not go good on this channel. And I think I've made that call a number of times. That I would have no problem watching it, but I don't think there would be anything for me to do here. Right? If there's like no mystery, or there's nothing to comment about, or if it's going to be a show that I would just, stare at the screen, it wouldn't be good for the channel. And I understand that I say I'm not here for the views and I'm not here for the engagement. Well, clearly I am here for the engagement. I'm reading y'all's notes. But I just mean the element of, if there's nothing going on between here and here, right, that there's no point in bringing those shows on board. Not unless I can figure out a way to do something, right? That's my conundrum when it comes to, like, Detective Conan. I would love to watch Detective Conan on the show. Because I like mysteries. I grew up on Scooby-Doo. It's just the element of, I don't know that I could figure it out without doing a pause reaction, and I'm not a pause reactor. If you're familiar with Detective Conan, there's always a part in the episode where it goes to commercial and you have like a doors closing noise. And that's your hint that, hey, when we come back from the break, we're going to figure out who done it, how they did it, motivation, all that stuff. So you have the commercials to figure out what Detective Conan's going to say. And I would need that, like, some sort of, here's the clues, how do we think it happened? And then, come back into the episode. But I just don't think I can work that out. I mean, I don't think I could get it on the fly, and I don't want to become a pause reactor. I want us to be able to watch in time with one another. So, anyway, thank you for the comment, both of you. Once again, that was the board, that was the notes, that was the comments. So let's go ahead and hop on in and see what we get from this episode.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
All right. I believe this episode's called Heavy Fighting the Space Marines, which I'm unaware, given the changes that may be involved here between, again, the movie and the show, if this is going to be us getting our final members of the crew who were there in the show, in the movie, but not yet present here, which is, I cannot remember the guy's name. In the movie, they came aboard before they launched from the planet. Here, they haven't made themselves present yet. And I don't know if they're going to be actually boarding the ship to try and take it over. A last-ditch effort from Toto's second-in-command. Or, actually, I don't know where the fuck they would be coming from. The element is that we already passed the moon. We've passed Mars? No, we passed Jupiter. Anyway, we're out there now. I guess we go by Pluto. We know by the intro of the series that we got mining operations on Pluto. We're all throughout the solar system. Could be anywhere. I mean, technically, at this point in the movie, we had the captain of the Andromeda on our ship. What was his name? Navalar or something like that? He was about to launch his attack too? Look how fast that's traveling. That would not be enough to travel all the way across the universe, which, by the way, is endless. I don't know how you go around the entire universe when that's infinity. Again, remember though, the Terrasat, or whatever the hell it's called, is in the Milky Way. So how did they imprison her in the middle of Terrasat if they've only just come in here for the first time? Sorry, I had to like squint at them there. It's like, did they turn them green again? Are they green again? Did I take screenshots from one episode where they turned them into human shades, and now they're gone back to green? Okay, I mean, not Pluto, not Planet X, another planet beyond Planet X. Space Cavaliers fierce battle. Interesting. That's in my note about. So my file name says heavy fighting the Space Marines. I'll admit that I actually paused for a moment there to double check that I didn't play the wrong episode. We are on episode 6, so... I was going to comment, he said 11th planet, as though he was confused that there was an 11th planet. To be fair, to the definition of what a planet is, there's like 100 planets in the solar system. We just named like 9 of them, or I guess 8 of them now. What? What?
大気も水もない暗黒のこの星もかつては生命に彩られ息づいていたのか。人類は22世紀の末ようやくこの謎の星にその足跡を記した。
To me, this invokes one of my favorite sci-fi novels. Look it up sometimes. Look it up sometime. At least for the cover art. Engines of God. Although technically that picture is supposed to take place on Pluto, not the 11th planet, but whatever. Oh, that's weird animation. Once the ships just disappeared. I mean, also not for nothing, they kicked your ass when you had an entire fleet with you. I'm saying this doesn't make a lot of sense. The Yamato had an entire defense fleet with it, and they had to retreat, and all those ships got, like, real messed up. And now they can't even touch the Yamato? Well, there's our guy from the movie. I think it's been forever since I've heard anyone call somebody chicken shit. Hey, I guess that they were going to peer from Pluto to get onto the ship. This is basically the same thing. Yeah, he's green again. I have to change the images again. And of course, Dessler's probably watching this whole thing since he called you just at the end of the last episode for not having reported it. I think we'd call those planes. Again, for me, it's just always weird. They show how effective the enemy forces are. The Yamato retreats. And here we are in a battle again. And it's just like fine. I wonder what reason the Gamalus forces didn't build a base on Planet 11 or 10, since apparently they existed. Why did they choose Pluto? Well, he says that well within our range. You think that means they've increased it to what, 15 kilometers? Space kilometers? Oh, sorry, he said main gun. I thought he meant the wave motion cannon. I thought they were about to shoot at them when they were like little dots. I was like, isn't that convenient? We can shoot at them before the animators have to draw them. Huh. Does that shimmer because they have shields of some sort? I mean, I gotta congratulate them on not just having one damaged ship run into another damaged ship. Happened to every gameless engagement. Yeah, one wonders how they're gonna get from this destroyed base to the Yamato. That's pretty cool. Oh, it's the air freezing. Sorry. I thought there was like a liquid breach and the liquid was forming an ice seal around the hole. I mean, maybe that's one way to have secured the base. You know, maybe everybody put on a spacesuit considering what the fuck is happening. I don't even know why you'd need tanks at this point. Just keep bombarding it. If you're just going to completely destroy the base. This could get really confusing. Imagine you're a member of the Yamato crew with PTSD, and then these guys show up wearing masks that give them blue faces. You're gonna think you're getting invaded by a Gameless squad. Did they establish that before? Again, wave motion cannon, man. They're flying in formation. You can take out most of them in one shot. I mean, it doesn't seem like anyone's actively trying to repair it yet, because you're all going on the offensive and defensive. So there's no point in defending a station that's not working. I'm saying priority 1 should always be survival. After that, priority 2 can be anything. I'm anticipating that was all the plot armor you're possibly going to get, my dude. You might as well call Dessler.
三種魚雷発射管開け。目標無限13度、距離9500。発射。
Now, there we go. I told you I appreciated it when they didn't do that. And then they did it, because it wouldn't be Space Battleship Yamato if two ships didn't ram each other by accident.
くそ、逃がすものか。待て南部。空母を追うより11番惑星基地を救助するのが先だ。直ちに11番惑星基地に。
What? Shoot it! It's right in front of you. You've got over 10 kilometers of shot range. Plus, however, for the far missiles go, or torpedoes or whatever. Okay, they're explaining that the Cosmo Tiger shot it down. Like, these things were getting taken out by hand-to-hand weapons. Who are we saying that this ancient civilization was? So I'm getting, like, Easter Island heads, but also, like, Incan ruins. I mean, we know what happened to the Easter Island people. Technically, I mean, I'm going to leave that out there. We also know what happened to the Incans. Or the Olmecs, if you think those might be Olmec heads.
指揮官はどうした。空間騎兵隊第11番惑星派遣隊長斉藤はじめだ。同じく東堂兵。
Oh, somebody else named Toto.
技術班長真田四郎。君たちを大和に収容する。何、大和？
I guess this is just another way to explain their origin. At least they got to do something. You know, unlike the movie where just they show up at the very last, or not show up. He gets something to do at the very last scene, and that's it. I legit thought he was just going to kill him. I thought he was going to be backstabbing bad guy. This guy was going to report his failure, and Dessler was going to mock him and then kill him. But thank God they didn't pull that trope.
こんな美人の看護婦まで乗ってんのが気に入ったぜ。
Do not goose her. Okay. Thank God. I wouldn't put it past the show.
戦士。なるほど。こんなご立派な船だったら女でも戦えるってわけだ。お前何しに来たんじゃ?
There were a ton of female crew before. They just were asleep. Stupid fucking shit.
何を塗ったんだ。
協力タムシ殺しです。
いや、俺の顔はタムシなんかじゃねえぞ。
お前なら何を塗っても効くじゃろ。
あのロボット何してるんだい。
笑っとるんじゃよ、お前のこと。
救助班と収集してきた破片を分析。
Sorry, I was just thinking to myself, we should have brought the humanoid robot from Earth. And then we had that wreckage there on the thing. I was like, oh my God, did we destroy it?
11番惑星基地を襲ったのは全くの未知の敵だということだ。とにかくこのデータはすべて地球に送ろう。
古代さん、地球が出ました。
古代か。第11番惑星基地が攻撃されたそうだな。
はい。残念ですが、ヤマトが到着する前に基地は破壊され、空間騎兵隊の生存者は隊長斉藤はじめ以下わず
The
か
concern here is if somebody wanted to make it look like it, they could make it look like the Yamato attacked that base, and then use that against them to keep tracking them down and try to attack them. You know, if Toto's second in command is still here, and they still want to make him a bad guy. Oh, okay. I thought he was going to be in the background and he was going to charge forward and say something. Remember, in the movie, the Andromeda and a fleet it was with gets destroyed in the solar system, so... Sorry, the nitpicker in me is like, we don't have time to celebrate. Literally we do, because we're gonna fly off, and then we're gonna have, what, days of travel to do nothing but celebrate. The hell was that? Did I blink too fast? What was that? Well, at least we're giving this guy some character development, other than the one massive character development he got in the movie. No, because we know this planet is in our galaxy. It should take Yamato no time to get there once it figures out where it's at. Space subs. I wonder what you would call, or what kind of ship you would call a space sub. Because the element is that they are, I don't know, in, nautical terms, a sub is an underwater boat. What is underwater to space? Maybe, here's the thing. Are we still pulling that alternate dimension thing? If you remember, Gamma ships went through an alternate dimension to travel versus what the Yamato's drive was, even though it seems like I don't know. Anyway, there was that alternate dimension thing, subdimension. Could a space sub, move in and out of that dimension? Would that be the sub part of, I imagine I'm thinking about this way more than the show has. I will be shocked, I say, if the show does what I'm talking about. As much as I argued with the editors last time, I kind of wish we were still getting the editor's notes. Probably an element of I'm using a different source. Then again, I kind of wish I had the original source for Season 2 as well. It was a better quality than this one. If you don't remember, I went through like 6 different sources of Space Battleship Yamato and trying to pick out the one that had more of a crisp look to it. This one, I basically had one source that had subtitles and everything like that, so there was no option. I even complained, I think, in like the first episode, that the aspect ratio did not match the originals, so. But yeah, anyway, my point being, I think I'm thinking about this more than anything. They're just probably referring to more spaceships. There's probably going to be absolutely no difference. I have said it before. For me, this is kind of the same hitch that I get when I talk about Gundam. where it doesn't matter what the specs of a Gundam are, it's what the operator using it can do. Oh no, he's like the fastest around. It's like, well, no, if they made a faster Gundam, that should be the fastest one, right? No, it's always, this pilot is the fastest pilot. Well, here, you remember back in Season 1, the gameless ships just fucking destroyed the entire space defense fleet. And then Yamato comes around, and it just instantly destroys everything it comes in contact with. These guys fucked up the fleet that Yamato was with, and then Yamato encounters them on its own and fucks up an entire fleet of them. So, I don't know. It doesn't strike me as... I just don't feel anything for it. I need there to be a struggle, and as we've already indicated from Season 1, even if the Yamato does struggle, it's just better, the next time we see it. I would need, it reminds me of Voyager. The precept of Voyager is that every episode, Voyager is fine again. Did we lose all of our shuttles? That's fine. Next episode, we'll have all the shuttles back. We have a limited number of photon torpedoes. We've got a full complement of photon torpedoes. So that should have been, if you don't know, Voyager is across the galaxy from the Federation, and it's trying to get back home, so it has no resupply or anything like that. Yamato should have been like that. Any attack on the Yamato should have been lasting, say for a couple of episodes at least. So one episode the Yamato gets fucked up, the next couple of episodes there should be like that thing on the ship still damaged. But I understand this is what, 70s, was it, right? So we couldn't do that sort of thing back then. I guess that's going to be the compromise here, right? That I'm giving the 70s show a lot of leeway for it being the original. Now, when we get to the modern version, if the modern version fucks up, I'm going to be a lot more critical. Here, I'm just pointing out little flaws here and there because I'm here to point out flaws. I don't know what to say. I'm being critical of the modern one for its mistakes because it had time to learn. If you didn't use that time to learn, then what are we doing, right? Anyway, again, I appreciate that we're giving the Space Marine guy backstory, I guess, if you want to consider this backstory. We're giving him development. Because in the movie, he just shows up, hey guys, I'm here to do this, and then he sacrifices his life at the very end. And it's like nothing between the two. So here, I feel like we've given the voice actor some room to create a character. He's got a second in command now, whose name is Toto, so there's 2 Totos. Even though I know we have the one commenter pointing out that the other guy hasn't been named Toto yet before. So, I don't know. He's Toto on the board. Don't know what to say. Other than that, I don't really have much else to say. I've indicated throughout the episode the element of, okay, Planet X, why not? Sure. And then we went one beyond that, and then made an ancient alien civilization. I don't know if we're ever going to bring that up again, but sure, why not? Although, I don't know if they're too advanced. They were still doing stonework, and apparently didn't leave any technology. Are we just using advanced to say that they weren't like cavemen? I don't know what we're going with here. Or are we saying that we got all of our advanced technology from them? Because this raises so many more questions, and I can't help but think we're leaving the planet behind to go back into the plot, that we just left behind a whole bunch of questions. What are we going to do with this? This was not worth, I think, what they were doing. They should have just set this base on Pluto and been like, welcome back to Pluto. That was a problem, I think. Granted, they could do something with it. And I'm going to let them hang themselves on that noose. I'm going to keep holding out hope that they're going to bring this back up before the end of the series so that they can do something with it. I don't know. This could just be the element of there's life on Pluto, right? They did that in Season 1. Nothing came of it. There was just like, oh, let's add something cool. Let's add something cool to Pluto because we're here. Well, let's create 2 extra planets in the solar system and just say something cool about the 11th one and move on. Anyway, I'm rambling. I apologize. As I indicated before, this is like a 1 a.m. recording. If I sound weird or my brain ain't working, blame it on that. But for now, I think that's going to be it for this episode. So once again, I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?